Madam Chair, I respectfully can't support the bill. I don't believe that a majority of people that have AIDS, HIV, want to purposely infect a person that they like or that they love. But I believe that they do owe it to their partner to disclose that they have the disease, and if they're being treated for the disease, even though they may have a zero viral load at the time. The disease-free partner can certainly make a decision whether or not they're willing to take a risk of unprotected sex. But you have to understand that a lot of people that have a zero viral load is because they take medication. And if you look at studies that have been done about compliance to prescription medication, which I'm very much aware of, 3 out of 4 Americans do not take their prescription medications as prescribed. And so if you don't take your AIDS medications as prescribed, you can get active virus, which can be unknowingly transmitted to a partner. In my view, this is not a gay issue. I heard an openly gay man come up and say that he's not a felon, and I don't believe he's a felon. But I do believe that if you have active HIV and you are communicable and you have risky behavior with another person that causes them to get the disease, I believe that that should remain a crime, and a significant crime. You've heard from some opposition that the misdemeanor would be very hard to prosecute because of intent and because of the very difficult possibility of getting search warrants. You know, if you go into a bar and you get into an altercation with somebody and you get into a fight and you break somebody's rib, you have the potential to go to prison for 7 years. If you get into a DUI that causes an injury, somebody breaks their leg, you have the potential to go to jail or prison for 7 years. But under this law, if you knowingly have HIV virus positive and you don't tell a partner that you're going to have relations with them and they get infected and that becomes a misdemeanor, I think that's a miscarriage of justice. There are still many examples in the literature of deranged people that purposefully want to infect people with the virus that they have. A gentleman in Missouri knowingly had AIDS, infected over 300 people, and is being prosecuted. Another gentleman, Darrell Rowe, 26, arrested, 8 counts of causing bodily harm and 1 count of attempting to cause bodily harm by knowing he had HIV and transmitting it. A former college wrestler, Michael Johnson, is believed to have infected over 30 people with HIV, faces life in prison for knowingly infecting somebody. Now, certainly the mortality associated with AIDS today is not like it was 2 or 3 decades ago. But you are condemning someone that gets the virus, that doesn't expect to get it, with very expensive medicine bills for the rest of their lives and constant checks to make sure that they don't have any kind of a viral load. Another part of this bill that I just find outrageous is that it will not allow a judge to require that somebody be tested. It deletes mandatory AIDS prevention education in some cases, deletes prostitutes from mandatory AIDS education and to submit to AIDS testing, deletes mandatory county AIDS education programs. I mean, why don't we want to educate people about the hazards of risky behavior, whether it's IV drug use or unprotected sex, to try to continue the progress that we've made to allow for people to be treated successfully and to rule out risky behavior that may in fact give them the disease. I believe that it's playing Russian roulette with other people's lives. I've heard arguments that that it is predominantly among African American and Hispanic females. If that is an issue, we should do an Attorney General's and civil rights investigation to find out why that is the case. What is the etiology of these groups that are finding themselves being arrested more than others? But you know, I don't think this bill should condone the actions of people like Charlie Sheen, that openly said he had HIV positive condition and he was having sexual relations with people unbeknownst to his partners. I think that's reckless. And to say that that's a misdemeanor, I think, is a miscarriage of justice. This is not a gay issue. This is a public health issue. If somebody has HIV and doesn't know it and has unprotected sex and somebody gets infected, that's not the person that we're targeting. We're targeting people that have it, that have the potential to transmit it to somebody else without their knowledge. All you've got to do is tell your partner, look, I'm HIV positive, I'm being treated. The last time I was checked, I had 0 viral load. It's up to you to decide whether or not you want to engage in relations with me or not. That clears them from the law. It's the person that doesn't make that connection. And I believe that if you are in a relationship and you love somebody or you like somebody, why would you want to endanger their lives without giving them a forewarning of your condition? So for those reasons, Madam Chair, and with all due respect, Senator, I can't support this law. It, I believe, is going to put more people, especially people that I've heard from in Palm Springs that I represent that has a large gay community. I got a phone call from a gentleman in Palm Springs. I hope he's watching and listening. He says, you know, Mr. Stone, I haven't agreed with you on one thing since you've been elected senator. But he says, I do agree with you with one thing. He says, I agree with your opposition on SB239 because you're putting the gay community at risk. And for those reasons, I won't be supporting the bill today.